All right, so I read The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Many people have read this book and have been inspired by it, and I was as well. It was a very enjoyable read. The reason I read it was I've heard it recommended so many times. Once in an interview that somebody did with Busybone, another time I heard that Will Smith said it's one of his favorite books. And then I was asking a bunch of people about it once I heard about it, and everybody read it, and they're like, "Yeah, you haven't read that yet?" So I finally acquired it this year in 2017, and as of reading it, it had so many parallels to the Celestine Prophecy. And the Celestine Prophecy is like a foundational book of my entire understanding of reality, spirituality. It's one of the most highly influential books in my life, the Celestine Prophecy. And as I read The Alchemist, there were so many things that were just like Celestine Prophecy in it. So I really enjoyed it because obviously I enjoyed the Celestine Prophecy, and the journey of the main character was definitely divine and interesting. Lots of knowledge was in there. So I'm just going to share so just a few of the concepts that I think were important that should be shared is I think the primary message of the book is to discover your personal legend, and that's to find your reason for being. I remember seeing a video of Alex Jones like 15 years ago when he had mentioned, he's like, look, I found my purpose in life, and it's what drives me every single day. It's the fuel within me. That's why they can't stop me, because every part of my being is doing this. And so when you discover your personal legend, it's that spirit that goes into you that allows you to achieve whatever your destiny is or whatever your quest is. And so definitely discovering your personal legend, finding out your reason for being. And when you find it, it guides you and gives you strength. And it's a profound thing. It's what's always driven my life. And obviously what my personal legend is, my mission here is to bring a concept that changes the way people see their reality. And I remember choosing my life in another dimension. That's what's given me that fire inside. Another concept in the book is follow the omens. And the omens were even described very similarly as they are in the 10th insight of the Celestine Prophecy. So following the omens is when, I guess, Celestine would call it holding a vision, or basically having a vision and holding it, and then allowing the synchronistic events to kind of take place around you. That would include being attentive to what the animals can show you, what the wind can tell you, basically being able to receive information that is told in an indirect way, but guides you on your path, and having the ability to say, all right, this is the omen. That's why this happened. There are no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. It's something I always try to teach people, is to be perceptive, to have the perception and awareness to see the omens as they present. The universe is always presenting them to you. It's up to you to be able to observe it, which then leads to the next thing that connects right to the omens, and that is that the universe will conspire on your behalf if you ask it to. So you request, it's the law of attraction. You request what it is you want. Usually you have to ask for an opportunity. Don't ask for things. Ask for an opportunity, because action is required on your part in order to make all the miracles and the magic happen. So you ask for an opportunity. That's what the main character did. He asked for an opportunity, and then the omens presented themselves so that the main character would know the path and be advanced on his journey. And as he would go on his journey, various omens of different kinds would all just happen synchronistically, just like in Celestine Prophecy, and his journey to fulfill his personal legend then unfolded. In the book, it makes mention of the phrase Maktub, which is "it is written," and I remember reading about that in the White Book, and then relating that back to Nas's first album, "It Was Written." And The Alchemist is kind of written from kind of like an Islamic perspective. It's not necessarily a Muslim book, but it has like Islamic references in it. And Maktub, I guess it would be Arabic, right? So anyway, the phrase Maktub, and in the White Book and in real life, I guess Nas is a member of Islam. And so Maktub is it is written, and it is written is saying that, we just have to walk through life. It was already written. We just have to experience it. But that isn't to say that there are choices and forks along the road that we can't shift what our destiny is, or at least change the course of events. But it is written. Maktub was in the White Book, not just in the Nas section, but I think it was referenced in another part of the White Book. So seeing that, I was like, wow, Maktub, it is written. And then another part was the main character, I forgot how it was, but basically when you kind of get in tune with the Force and the universe begins to conspire on your behalf, you observe the omens and you become one with just basically being on your journey. There was like a scene where the characters were able to understand each other even though they were speaking a different language. Now, this wouldn't have meant anything to me had I not read the White Book, because there was a scene in the White Book, I think in the 1991 chapter, the chapter about Desert Storm. The chapter about Desert Storm, where the U.S. soldiers that were captured by, I guess, Saddam Hussein's army, they saw that he had a Tupac tape, so they had like this big circle where they were all, I guess, smoking some kind of hookah or something. And as it entered their bloodstream, the soldiers were then able to understand the Arabic, and the other guys were able to understand their English, and they were all able to communicate in this like universal language. So that happened in the White Book, and it happened in The Alchemist. So there might be something to this where there's a certain like level of consciousness that you could attain that you're then able to understand people that speak different languages. I don't know. It's not impossible. It's possible. So anyway, The Alchemist I'd say it's a profound book. It got kind of lame near the end, but the journey is the destination. And if you're in tune with knowing what you're reading, it is a pretty profound book, and in ways a true story, as supernatural as the book seems. A lot of the stuff that happened to the main character in the book somewhat has happened to me, like not exactly the same way, but in ways has happened to me. So I could vouch for the validity of the book. And I think that the majority of people that support this book have also had paranormal experiences that are very similar to what the main character went through on his journey. Life is supernatural. Science and society will try to get you to believe that everything is nice and normal, and that we've already figured everything that there is to figure out. It's very arrogant to think that we've figured out God, or figured out the universe, or figured out the supreme architect in just a short period amount of time. There are forces of nature, forces of the universe, things that we cannot explain, and we definitely don't have it all figured out. And I wouldn't say it infuriates me, but when I see people acting as if they've got it all figured out, and that there is no supernatural occurrences, in a way I feel bad for them, for that they've never experienced the supernatural. But when they try to tell you that you're not having these experiences, when you know you have, and thousands, millions of other people have as well, it's like, man, you think you know, and you have no idea. We have certainly been fed a limited perspective of reality. If you want to expand your horizon, want to read a good book, it's a short read. Only took me like 4 sittings to complete it. Pick up The Alchemist. It is profound. It has divine wisdom in it. And I thoroughly recommend it. And I enjoyed it. What's it about? I didn't even tell you what's it about, right? It's just the hero's journey. That's all I can say. If you've read the Celestine Prophecy, it's very similar. May the Force be with you. Check me out in my next video. Like and subscribe. Thank you.